So on one hand, you're interviewing McNamara, who's apologizing first time publicly for the Vietnam War, the Secretary of Defense.
With tears.
Amazing interview. You interview Michael Jackson with his wife.
Yes, Lisa Marie.
Lisa Marie. But you also interview Saddam Hussein before a war.
Right.
So this is an incredible body of work. What was Saddam Hussein like? Was he pleasant to you?
No. No, he was contemptuous of American journalists and maybe, I don't know, being interviewed by female journalists.
Who told you that it was inappropriate for a woman to ask? Oh, that was
Ahmadinejad, who said...
He said a woman shouldn't be asking these tough questions?
Yeah, he said, why are you asking all of these tough questions? You should be asking me about romance and family.
And how did you respond to that?
I think I had a sort of weak, distraught look. I didn't, there's nothing to say to it. There's nothing to say. As he's exiting with his entourage out of the room.
That actually made the interview interesting because that showed his attitude toward women.
Yes, yes. And
you couldn't have asked for a better thing for him to say to you.
And again, much of what he does, as we know, is also political theater. So for him, it was just this silly exercise, I think, with this silly woman.
Well, even Al Gore said to you, why are you asking me about my weight? Which was the right question, because people thought him losing weight was getting ready to run.
The Weight Watch. He's running. He's not running. Hamburger. He's not running.
He got annoyed at that, right?
Yeah, he did. He did. But it was the right question. It was absolutely the right question. But you know, Saddam Hussein, it was interesting because let me shake your hand.
Oh, really?
That was it. That
this
was the
macho.
It just barely. He just couldn't even bring himself to engage in a handshake.
American, a journalist,
I don't know.
A woman,
I don't know.
A blonde?
He was so glazed.
Drugged,
in some way. You know, we've heard everything since then, haven't we? But he also, you know, the thing that struck me in that interview, the most interesting thing to me is that I came back and said to everybody, as we know, tyrants eventually insulate themselves out of the ability to act in a real world. And I came back and said, guys, he doesn't think we're going to invade because he doesn't know anything. I don't even remember the moment in the interview, which was most stunning to me, is when he said, I said to him, why do you put people in jail who criticize you? And he said, well, look what you do to them in your country. You put them in jail. And I said, no, we give them their own talk show on television. Right. And he goes and looks around at people. He thought that Native Americans were kept on reservations and were never not let off. Yes. And he was so misinformed, obviously by people who were terrified within an inch of their lives of giving him any information he didn't want to hear, that he had lost touch with reality.
All right, so you're going around the world for Primetime Live. Somebody comes into my office and says, Diane has volunteered to do Good Morning America to save us, because Good Morning America is probably the most profitable part of ABC News. Well, I mean, how long are you going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and make my wake up more pleasant?
You want to come rescue me from myself here.
I couldn't do it. How do you? But anyway, you volunteered to do it. What motivated that, and why it turned out to be such a brilliant move?
Well, I really
for you and for ABC.
I think Charlie Gibson saved Good Morning America, not me. But I agreed.
Both saved Good Morning America. He came back to it when you went on.
Back to it, and he had this long history. And he came in. It was Christmas Eve, and we had champagne, so I don't know what a factor that was, but it's worth investigating.
That's where you decided it?
We did.
With him or with your husband?
With him.
Oh, with him?
With him. No, poor Mike. Poor Mike. He didn't have any idea that I'd be this committed for this long, but
so Mike Nichols is working on a play, and his wife is getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, every morning.
That's right.
And he looks at you and says, so long.
He used to just sit up and say, tell it like it is, and then crash back. Right. Now, I try to get up just before the alarm goes off. I'm almost there, not quite there, some mornings. And he thinks it's his alarm, and he gets up and starts getting dressed, and then he realizes it's mine. Oh, it's just an awful time to have to get up in the morning. It's awful, and you think it's going to get easier?
You've been doing this for 8 years now?
Yes.
Since you came back?
Charlie and I agreed to go in for 3 months, and we all thought, we said to ourselves, we'll be nice, maybe 6 months. Well, 8 years later, here I am.
But somebody said to me, this may be, I don't know whether David Weston, head of ABC News, that Mike Nichols, your husband, said this would be smart to do, which I think it is, because he's smart. Because when you're on Good Morning America as the host, it's your personality. When you're just a talker, you're reading the news and being a news person, it's not a personality thing. When you're there in the morning, you are part of America. You are forever stamped as a real person and become a real person by being on for that length of time. Did that conversation happen, or did you just say, I'm going to go do it, I'm not thinking about it?
No. What he has always said, and he, as you know, he used to do improvisational comedy on Broadway, which to me is the scariest thing you can do. And he said that he and his partner Elaine May had a motto, which is sometimes the only safe thing is to take a chance, and that the most dangerous thing is to stay safe. And so that's really what he said to me, take a chance, take a chance.
You've got an amazing career. I hope you stay on Good Morning America, because it's so nice to wake up with you.
Thank you.